I still can't. It's the second time I've done this video and I still can't stop laughing. BlackRock is saying to shun U.S. stocks. Shun them. Avoid them. Look, man, I'll take my advice from BlackRock the minute I take my advice from Fauci, if you know what I'm saying. BlackRock can kiss my big fat behind. It's just a clown show. The world's largest investment manager is avoiding the stock market. Really? A strategist at BlackRock's Investment Institute said the firm was shunning stocks as monetary policymakers underestimate the severity of a potential recession that could ensue from aggressive rate hikes. Many central banks are still focused on pressure to quickly get core inflation back to 2% without fully acknowledging how much economic pain it will take in a world shaped by production constraints. All right, so for the thousandth time, the Fed didn't get us into the inflation. It didn't cause the inflation. They can't fix it. If you didn't cause it, you can't fix it. All right? It's so idiotic. I'm so sick of it. Everyone just falls for this. The Fed, it's so boring. It's like, it's trite, and it doesn't take any thought to say the Fed caused inflation. It takes no. Let me just show you something here real quick. Do you know how many depressions there were in the 1800s? Here's Murray Rothbard, the Panic of 1819. The 1870s had a depression. The 1890s had a depression. Now, I'm not even talking about the Civil War time because inherently that's depressionary. The idea that the Fed stepped in and is inflating things, Weimar Republic stuff, is so freaking stupid, man. Do I like the Fed? No, it's insane. But the Fed, certainly the idea that things were better in the 1800s before the Fed came in is just freaking stupid. It's dumb. I'm sick of dumb. I'm sick of it. After what happened these last 2 to 3 years with stupid COVID, there is no room for dumb anymore. Think, my friends, and most of you guys do. I get most of this channel does because that's why you're here, because you're thinkers. But then you see all these other things, and you're just like, oh my goodness, how idiotic to say the Fed is going to fix inflation because they caused it. Like, no, they did not. How many panics have we had since the Fed came in on board? No, we had the Great Depression. Was that from the Fed? No, it wasn't from the Fed. How many freaking hyperinflations have we had? We had the 70s. Was that from the Fed? No, it wasn't from the Fed. It's just so frustrating. Anyway, and I'm not here to defend the Fed. I don't, look, it's completely globalist cabal. I get all that. Wilson, not FDR, freaking Teddy Roosevelt. Why did they killed? Was it Buchanan they killed? Was that the president that allowed for Teddy Roosevelt? I think it was Buchanan. Or McKinley, one of those guys. And in 1904 or 5 or something like that in Buffalo, I can't remember. But anyway, they assassinated McKinley, I think, or Buchanan, one of those guys. And that allowed the Teddy Roosevelt to come in. Teddy Roosevelt went to the Bull Moose Party, which allowed Woodrow Wilson. And that's where we are in the modern era. Now, I don't like the modern era as much as any of you guys, but the idea that the Fed is involved in this to a depression, inflation, or anything like that, it's just idiotic. Anyway, let's keep going here. So here's BlackRock, and they're going to say, let's see here, right? The S&P was down roughly 24%. All right, that's a bear market. Well, good. We've needed one. I mean, that is what it is. This is where the money's made, man, in bear markets. NASDAQ is down about 33% since its peak in November 2021. Let's see. We're going to see this. The guy from the World Bank, don't care. BlackRock strategists argued that the recent inflationary pressures have been triggered by a structural shift in spending from services to goods. Recent inflationary pressures have been caused by a structural shift in spending from services to good, as well as production constraints caused by the pandemic. And the pandemic didn't cause any production restraints. It's like saying a firearm caused someone to get killed by a gun. That's stupid. The war in Ukraine and China's COVID lockdown. Huh? No. I'll show you what freaking caused it. Issues that cannot be resolved with monetary policy intervention. Well, at least they're saying that. Let's see. Central banks can't fix these constraints. Well, that's right. Hence a brutal trade-off. Trigger a deep recession by hiking rates or live with more persistent inflation. No. Anyway, so apparently BlackRock is going to buy more credit. I saw that someplace in here. Which credit is debt. They're going to, right here. We're tactically underweight developed market stocks and preferred credit. All right. So they're going to buy more debt. I actually think it's not a bad move, frankly. I'm not saying be underweight stocks, but to load up on some credit issues like U.S. government bonds, long-term U.S. government bonds, man. I'd be loading up on those like crazy. All right, let me go into something else here. All right, so here's BlackRock's front page of their website. Let's see. Weird how we're not seeing so much on green anymore. Let's see where we got here. So the first, nothing here, nothing here. Let's keep going down. Investment goals and preferences, cash, commodities, bonds, real estate, building bridges, literally and figuratively. What is going on here, man? About how to plan? Where is all the green stuff? Isn't that interesting? Investment stewardship, corporate sustainability. Huh? It's almost like they're trying to wipe out. They're the cause with their stupid ESG stuff because the Green New Deal crap. It's almost like they're trying to pretend like they didn't do it. And they got one little thing for it, sustainable investing. Huh. The video back in October 2021, there's more to BlackRock than you might imagine. Interesting. And I cited LouRockwell.com, which I'm a big fan, long time, first time. I've done other videos on BlackRock. Led the train on the global green energy policy. And this is well before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Interesting how they're trying to, what, are they trying to scrub it off? Or is it part of the big plot where they can get you to basically give them more of your money, frankly? I don't know how else to put this, man. I mean, if BlackRock, it's like, again, it's going back to Fauci. If Fauci say the sky is blue, you know the sky is red. If BlackRock says they're getting out of stocks, I can almost assure you they're not, man. You know, because what's happening here? This is what these big conglomerates do. All right, let me tell you how this works. George Soros, BlackRock, they're all part of the same shenanigans. So what happens is they fund these George Soros district attorneys in LA County and San Francisco, probably in Austin, Texas, I don't know. And these guys, so basically the property values of these cities are way high, way high. Seattle, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, I don't know that for sure, but it's LA and whatnot. And so what happens is these guys say, oof, and what we got to do is we got to fund these district attorneys that George Soros fund to basically let people out of jail for free. You know what I'm saying? That we have evidence on top of evidence on top of evidence of this happening. So crime is rampant. What does that do ultimately for real estate? Well, ultimately, it's going to make real estate go down. Why? Because people are like, man, I'm not going to live here anymore. I mean, did you hear about the kid who got killed? Some Democrat politician, want to be big BLM supporter, just got gunned down in the street in South Philly by a black guy. I mean, sad, but here's a big, white kid who's like BLM, and then, he thinks he's going to make, he's going to be friends with these gangsters, and it looked like a political hit, frankly. I don't know. But anyway, what happens is ultimately it's white flight, essentially. It's not just white flight anymore because this whites aren't the predominant majority as we used to be. But the people of productive society classes say, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to stay here anymore. And they leave. Thus, they're left with lower property values. All right. I mean, this is just, if you think about Portland, Maine, you think about New York City, you think any place, man, Arlington, Virginia. All right. Then what happens is the BlackRock money comes in, the George Soros money comes in, the money comes in from the globalist cabal, buys up cheap property, and then they say we're going to get rid of crime and we're going to build it back up again. I mean, you can see this a mile away. And the same thing with stocks. Oh my goodness, a 24% decline in stock market is nothing, man. That's a freaking, I mean, if you're not expecting that, what are you doing? This is nothing. So they're going to say we're going to shun stocks. Why? It's to get more people to shun stocks so the prices go down so they can flock in and buy it when it's cheap with all their assets they have over here. I mean, this is so obvious to me. Now, at the end of the day, I think buying bonds, long-term treasuries in particular, is a freaking good move. Right now, we have an inverse yield curve. The 10-year treasury is trading higher as a yield, or you want to say trading lower, but the 10-year treasury yield is higher than the 30-year treasury. All right, typically that doesn't happen. We're already in a recession. It's already here. 2 straight quarters of negative growth. It's here, man. Regardless of what Sniffy says, it's here. All right, so we got 2 straight quarters of negative growth. It looks like, who knows what the third quarter is going to be. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The recession is here. It's not going to solve inflation. The only thing that's going to solve inflation is getting off the oil machine of the Rockefeller clan and going to nuclear, man. Now, we can use oil. I got no qualm with that, but I'd rather use nuclear because that is part of get away from the cabal of the fossil fuel industry. You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather do that than freaking solar, photovoltaic, and wind, because that's not going to do what I'm doing here. I can't heat your house on solar. Can't heat your house on solar. You can't heat your house on solar. Everybody can't heat your house on solar. Anyway, so when BlackRock is saying they're shunning stocks, well, whatever, dudes. Okay, I mean, it's stupid. Should you shun stocks? No, you crazy? I mean, do whatever you got to do. A guy emailed me yesterday, nice guy. He's like, you sound pessimistic. I'm saying maybe I'll do another video on that, but I'm the furthest thing from pessimistic. I'm so optimistic. And you should be too. All right, I'll do another video on that because I think it's important. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.